Okay, that Scat Pack D is fire. Yeah, that new one is fire. That hood looks familiar. The way that hood bulges and it curves out, it looks definitely real similar to kind of what we got now. What are you driving in circles? I know this man is not sliding through a warehouse, and this man is holding the wheel straight. Like, he's got to work on his acting. He's never gonna win an Oscar this way, like, for real. But why is this all CGI? They couldn't really get someone to drive the car and really do this. I mean, I know about 10 people right now that could do that in real life. The four-door. I know the history behind the two-door. I get it. I've been talking about it. But the four-door is where the sales are going to be. So they actually did something smart here by putting the four-door with the two-door at the same time. I don't know about the speakers for the I don't know about that. Interior looks pretty clean. I give it that for sure. Definitely it was time for a new interior with this particular car. The dual screens kind of remind me of the 650 Mustang. You know, it has got the one of the screens for behind the steering wheel, and then you have the other one. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But I think a lot of cars are going that direction, it seems like.
Well, these electric Dodges are like time machines. They can take you back while launching you forward at the same time.
Really?
This is more than a direct descendant of your origin story. It's a direct connection.
Still love that Scat Pack D. That's a mean looking beast.
Powering this brand into tomorrow. Oh yeah, that wasn't the sound of the Fratsonic chamber.
The inline six gonna be sounding like that. What is up with all the CGI? Could they not have? Do they not have the real car somewhere? That's kind of odd, man. It's kind of weird that they have not put a real car in this whole thing at all, period. This is the future Dodge. This is what we've been talking about. This is what it is, and we see exactly what we're going to be dealing with going forward. A lot to unpack with this particular video. Not one real car in the whole video, all CGI. But let's go ahead and drop the intro. Word from the sponsors, all that, man, and let's really dive into what's going on here. And did Dodge get this right? Today's video is brought to you by CarLock, the world's best GPS tracking and alert system. With CarLock, you'll be able to get various alerts to monitor your car, such as vehicle movement, vehicle vibrations, engine starting. The unfortunate event that your CarLock gets disconnected, you will get an alert for that too. You can purchase your own CarLock by clicking on the link down below. That will give you a 10% discount on your CarLock purchase, as well as use my code to get a 14-day free trial with CarLock as well. Get you a CarLock. You deserve that peace of mind. Let's get into the video. YouTube family, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the video. We got a lot of car related things going on this channel. You're right place for all of that. So make sure you lock it in and subscribe if you haven't already. But we got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and dive into this video. You see the title and you see the thumbnail. We're diving right into it. Initial thoughts after the whole reveal. You heard me say it here. The whole thing is like they didn't have not one real car in this particular reveal, which is kind of odd. When they unveiled the Demon, both times they had a real car there, showed it, we could hear how it sounded, all that type of stuff. When they unveiled this car for the first time, granted it was a concept, you saw the real car and all of that. Kind of odd. This is kind of the first reveal that they did for a car where they did not have the actual car there at all, period. This was all CGI. Not one time did they show a real car. And apparently they have the real cars, because I saw all the press release photos afterwards. They decided not to put any real cars in the video, which I really wish they would have, so you can actually see this thing in motion, hear it, all that type of stuff. But then again, maybe, I don't know, maybe that inline six doesn't sound as good as they try to make it sound. Maybe this Fratsonic sound chamber that they got doesn't sound as good as they say it sounds. Maybe they're hiding something. So outside of the video actually about the car itself, I'm happy they did come out with the four-door. I know that the two-door is the historic true to a Charger car. But if in terms of sales in the market, four-door is going to be the one that's going to outsell the two-door anyway. I had a Challenger before I get it. Only reason I'm not in a Challenger is because I need four doors. They were smart by coming out with the four-door, so you do got a lot of options, it seems like, as far as what you want. But for the design of the car itself, I feel like this design gets a lot of hate because of the fact that it's so drastic from what we're accustomed to seeing since pretty much, I say, at least 2011. 2011 and the 2011 to 2014, then 2015 to 2023, those cars are very similar. I feel like the 2015 to 2023, that this particular car is pretty much the same as the 2011 to 2014. It's just a more rounded version. The 2011 to 2014 is a little bit more boxier, have a little bit more sharper angles than the 2015 and up. But they relatively complement each other and pretty much being the same. So that's why it wasn't too drastic of a change going from the 14 to 15, because the same body lines were there for the most part. With this particular one, it throws all of that out of the window. Nothing on that car, or very few lines on that new car, resemble what we have now, and it's going to take a lot to get used to. I said before, the main thing, the car looks awkward to me because of the fact that the silhouette of the car doesn't really line up with anything I'm used to. Granted, I know they're going with kind of the early 70s, late 60s Charger two-door look and things like that, but it still doesn't line up exactly in my eye. I can't look at that car and say, okay, that's a Charger. Like the Challenger that we're used to, a lot of that stuff lines up with the 70s models, like pretty much identical, but this doesn't do it as much. So it does, like I said, take a lot to get used to. I still feel that this is the best looking EV car in the market. I would take this car compared to all of the EVs 10 out of 10, and the reason I would say that is because of the fact that it doesn't look like an EV car initially. If you never knew what an EV car looked like, or you didn't know this car is EV, you wouldn't think it was an EV car. However, like I said, the side profile still looks kind of odd. That rear bumper area still looks kind of odd to me. I have never seen this car in person. I haven't went to any of the events where they had this car. Like, I can't form a full opinion on the looks of this car until I see it in person. The pictures tend to do weird things with the angles and things like that. Even like this wide body Charger that I have, but you see it in person, it looks massive, it looks big, it looks commanding, it looks super wide. It looks way wider than it does in any of the pictures that I can take with this particular car. So I want to still see it in person to kind of fully close out how I feel about it. And maybe it'll look better with certain mods and things like that, but as of right now, it's hard for me to really like the design. Not saying it's terrible. I did say there's some things I did like. I did like that they went with the retro design and all that type of stuff. Yeah, and I know that the current Charger doesn't really look like the two-door Charger or anything like that, but I feel like if you're gonna go retro with it, at least make something that you can directly correlate, you know, that year with this year and things like that. I would say the closest Charger, if you're looking at some of the older Chargers, 1970 might be the closest that this car looks to, but like I said, the side profile really doesn't line up. That's it doesn't line up until it says it's a Charger. The front end does look like a Charger, how boxy it is, and kind of how it kind of just looks like one big thing there in the front. The rear kind of says Charger as well, but from the side profile, it really doesn't say it. But overall, I mean, with the design, I feel like Dodge really tried to do everything with this car that everyone's been asking for them to do with the car since forever, it seems like. I mean, they wanted better and wider tires for the car. I mean, they did do it with the wide bodies by putting 305s on it, but the Pirellis are still not grippy enough. I mean, you can light up, the Scat Pack itself can light up these 305s super easy. And we know if the Scat Pack can do it, the Hellcat will roast them easier. So they went better. They went even wider. So 305s on the front and 325s on the back. So they went with some massive tires on the back and actually changed out the tires, and instead of going with Pirelli, I think they went with Goodyear, the F1 series tires for the car. So if that is a step in the right direction to give this car some grip, this car is going to be much more powerful. Granted, it is all-wheel drive now, and that can be switched back to rear-wheel drive. so you can go back and forth. So we've asked for, a lot of people ask for the all-wheel drive platform for this particular car, and they're giving it to us, and you can switch it off and make it rear-wheel drive as well. So the donuts and the sliding and stuff will continue with this particular car. And also, I mean, on the previous a previous video that I did, I talked about this car looks like it can be a wide body without the fender flares, and it looks like that is going to be true. That this car is a wide body. I'm going to get into the dimensions of this car because it is a pretty massive car, and a lot of people complain about, well, this isn't a true wide body, it's just fender flares glued onto the car and what have you. And so they went away with that, and they pretty much gave you fenders that flare out and incorporated into the cars. Powers, I mean, it's impressive for what it is. I mean, of course, the EVs, it's a little bit easier to get power out of an EV because of the fact that, you know, it's instant torque with those particular cars and what have you. You know, 496, 670. So you're talking both of those are easily faster than the Scat Pack, not even close. But the gas models, the inline six models, I think that's pretty interesting. So 420 and 550 horsepower, really respectable, coming out of the inline six with the twin turbos there with the standard output and the high output. I got more on that a little bit later. Now this is kind of what I want to touch on here. I mentioned that this car is bigger than the other car. I think I mentioned that one of the things that make this car successful is they can somehow make this car lighter than the current platform, which I know the EV, that's impossible. You can't make an EV lighter because the battery takes up so much, it adds so much weight to the car. But with the inline six, you may have ability to make it lighter there. We are already starting out with a bigger car. If you thought these cars were big now, you haven't seen anything yet. For everyone to wrap your head around how big this car is now coming out. The wheelbase is almost an inch longer, which in the grand scheme of things, not too big of a deal there. The length, the overall length of the car is 8 inches longer. So we're talking flirting with a foot longer. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys park your car in the garage. 8 inches longer is gonna, you know, may cause some issues getting into your garage depending on what you have in there. This car is wide, 4.5 inches wider than the current car. So I'm not sure if they mean, when they mean 4.5 inches wider, are they talking about 4.5 inches wider than the wide body or 4.5 inches wider than the narrow body, the standard body? Because the wide body is 3 inches wider than that. So I wonder which one is wider than, but it's 4 inches wider. It is nearly as wide as a Ford F-150. So we're talking a sedan coupe that is almost wide as a full-size pickup. That's a big car, and I don't think this car is not going to be lighter at all. I'm seeing that people are saying this car is going to be like 5,800 pounds. That's a boat. I'm definitely the EV is going to be that. Interested to see what the inline six car is gonna weigh, but this car is heavy, very heavy. But I will say this is really interesting, and I do want to point out, with this car being that much bigger than the current model, I know we've talked about the Challenger and stuff on this channel before, and how that is potentially coming, and well, actually it's coming at some point, because Tim did say when they unveiled the Demon that they have something for the Challenger, so in the future, so something's coming. He hasn't said anything, but I think this is the opportunity to make that car extremely small. Make that car as small as it should have been. And pretty much, I mean, you can put the same, the same power into that car that you put into the Charger that you got coming out. And because it's going to be significantly smaller, the performance is going to increase drastically with that. So you're going to be interested to see what they do with that. Besides all that, with all the improvements that they made with this car, and kind of things that people ask for and what have you, I really hope that they actually made the security better on this car, because if Dodge goes into a whole nother, you know, next generation with these Chargers and they still have the same issues with theft. Now granted, I don't think these cars are gonna be stolen like that, and maybe I'm wrong. Cars shouldn't be as easy to steal as they are, yet they are. And hopefully they took that to heart and did something with this car so it doesn't become like a running joke at how easy these cars are to be stolen. You don't want to go into the next generation car with the same problems that you had with the previous car. Now I know this car may not be as popular as what the current gen Charger is, but just in case things change and it does become that type of car, You want to make sure you do that. And I'm gonna be honest, I think it's gonna get stolen, or someone's gonna attempt to steal it just to say they stole the car. I think someone's gonna do it just to say they did it, and they're gonna steal it, and they're gonna swap a Hellcat or something in from another stolen car. Now, how do I feel about the cars? Honestly, with actually seeing everything there, like I stated before, I need to see the cars in person. But just initially, I still feel the same way about the EVs. I'm not really a fan of EVs. EVs is not something that I am into. I like the internal combustion engine. That's just me. The EVs do nothing for me. As far as with the inline six, I will say that does pique my interest a little bit. I know for a fact that's going to be the one that's going to sell. Those inline six engines are going to sell a whole lot more than the electric cars will. I mean, I think Dodge, and I'll probably go into another video on this. I think Dodge probably entered the EV stuff way too late. You see Ford is about trying to give away those Mach-E's right now. They're probably going to do some buy one get one free type deals over there. You buy a Mustang, Dark Horse, or a GTD or something like that, get a Mach-E for free or something at this point, because they can't move them things at all. But the inline six does pique my interest a little bit. Would I take an inline six over Hellcat? No, I need my V8. The V8 is that's what it is right there. Would I take the inline six over the EV? 10 out of 10, 20 out of 20, 50 out of 50. Yes, I would. Compared to my scat pack that I have right now, would I take the inline six, the 550 horsepower inline six, over the scat pack I have right now? The V8 sound gets it for me. I love the sound. However, if there was a time where, and I'm just going to say this, if there was a time where if this car was no longer an option, stuff like that, first I need to know like what the price of this car is going to be. Let me say that first. I need to know what the price of this car is going to be, because the way I look at it and kind of what I'm seeing right now, these cars are about to be super expensive. The EVs are going to come in at probably 60, 70,000 at least. Banshee is going to be ridiculous crazy. There's stuff they got coming for that car that they didn't mention that they got coming, but they hinted at it before, and I'll probably talk about it in another video. But for the internal combustion engine, for the ICE engines, for the inline six engines, those are the ones that are going to be cheaper, but I don't see those being cheaper than a scat pack, honestly, right now. You're talking one with 420 horsepower, that's more than RT. Yeah, it's going to give you a run for your money on that, but I don't think that's going to come in at no less than 45K, maybe 50, just because of the horsepower that's in it. And it's brand new, more technology, more things in it. That's a $45,000, $50,000 car. The 550, I'm saying 55 to 60. I'm thinking, would it be worth it? You got to compare it to other cars in this class with similar horsepower figures and stuff like that. Would it be worth it at that point? I still don't think I would take it over my current scat pack. However, it does interest me. I want to see what this platform can do. But did Dodge get it right? Did Dodge knock it out the park with this new car? I'm gonna say, I mean, based on some of the feedback I'm seeing from a lot of people, they won't give up their V8 for it, but they are willing to have it beside their current V8 as maybe like a daily driver or something like that. I know a lot of people are saying it's ugly, and I get that. I mean, and I'm saying there's some things about the design I don't like either, but I know that's coming from a place of, because it's totally different. It's like if the current Charger was right here, I almost called it a Challenger. If it's right here, this new design is over here somewhere. There's nothing that ties that car to the car we have now. Nothing at all. It's a completely different car. If you didn't have the name on the car and no one knew what it was, you put it up and say, what car is this? A lot of people would have no clue what to call that car. But given the circumstances, I think Dodge did okay with the car. A lot of different options as far as power plants and 2 or 4-door sales. I don't expect the sales to be as high. The inline sixes would sell, but the price point is going to be the thing that I think is going to keep a lot of people out. EVs aren't selling well right now, and if this car comes out 60, 70,000, they definitely will not sell well. If the inline sixes come out and they're like 50, 60,000, you're gonna be hurting there. You're not gonna, like with the current model Charger that we had since 2015, you're not gonna have the $29,000, $30,000 cars anymore. I think that's done for. We'll kiss that goodbye. 40,000 gonna be a stretch. I don't think this car's gonna be 40,000. I'm thinking 45, 50,000 for sure. It's gonna be, it's definitely the most powerful cars that they came out with, as far as like top to bottom wise. It's also going to be the most expensive and the heaviest, as I mentioned, is she's fat. She's a big one. The biggest complaint people say, I see this car everywhere. I see it everywhere. You're not going to see this car everywhere. It's not going to be the case. It's going to be priced so far out of a lot of people's price range when it comes to car. You're talking, you're flirting with Hellcat Hellcat prices in some cases with some of these cars. And I'm interested in when you start optioning these cars out, what kind of price you're looking at. Because you know the dealership, you know how they're going to do. Once they get their hands on it, they're going to have to add their little 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 on top of the car, because that's what they do, and they transfer all that every time they do it. But those are my thoughts, man. That's gonna wrap up today's video, man. Good to see what's coming down with Dodge and what we're gonna be looking forward to. I want to see the car in person. As I stated, I feel like there's more to this car that they are letting on that they haven't really told us yet. Probably be looking for more updates on like what color options out there, what configurations out there. There's stuff out there they haven't told us yet. I'm interested to see this price tag. I want to see what this car is going to cost, because that will show you. That would kind of be the telltale sign if it's really going to be affordable, or they're going to price themselves out of the market. Because if they price themselves out, they're done for just on that alone. If you made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of car related things on this channel. Catch you on the next one. We are out. Cut it.